All right, what are we doing today?
So today we're going to be fixing a brake caliper on a 2011 Ford Edge because it is draggy, as you can tell by all the brake dust all over the wheel. It's pretty gross. So we've got some tools. We've got our jack. We've got the new caliper. We've got some new pads that we're going to do while we're under the car. Some brake fluid. We've got our 1/2-inch impact, and we got our socket set. So the first thing we got to do is get the car up in the air and get the wheel off.
So we have an impact, but the batteries didn't get charged last night. So we're gonna do this old-fashioned way with this 19 millimeter stuff.
Got it lifted. We got a jack under there just in case. And now we're going about taking the wheel off. Okay, so we've got the wheel off. You can see pad was definitely rubbing on the rotor a lot. Caliper's definitely locked up. We got some wear on the rotor here. More brake dust yet. Little hole in the rotor that we're not going to talk about. We're going to ignore that because I'm broke. So now we have to take off the two caliper mounting brackets, which are both 17 millimeters. There's 2 bolts, one on the top and one on the bottom. And then once we've got that off, we can see how worn the pads are and get that caliper out.
Alright, so a little bit of technical analysis here. We got the caliper off. These are the mounting bolts for it, oriented like this. So these would go into the sliders here. And this is what allows your caliper pistons to slide in and out here with the brake pads. So how this works is you got your brake line here with fluid in it. When you press on the brake, it's going to send fluid through this line and push these pistons out. So the caliper is sitting on the bracket here with the brake pads. These pistons are going to come out, squeeze these together, so when you're pushing the brake, the pads go to the rotor, slow yourself down. So our next step here is we're going to be taking the brake line off so that we can replace this right here. Might get fluid all over the parking lot and Rob's rotor, but we're gonna keep pushing.
A few moments later.
We got the caliper off here, and we successfully dumped a whole lot of fluid all over the parking lot. We kind of forgot that we had a new caliper bracket as well. So we got to take the old one off and the old pads off. So that's going to be 2 bolts on the back side, similar to how the caliper was mounted. They're both 19 millimeters. We'll slide, once it's off, we'll slide the pads out, and then we'll put new slides on the bracket here, and we'll mount the pads back on, and that'll go back where this one is, and we'll throw the new caliper on.
Check in here. So we got the new caliper bracket mounted back on and tightened up. We put the old brake pads back on because they weren't that bad. They're still pretty thick there. Lots of life left. And now we're ready to start reassembling.
And we're still dripping brake fluid all over the parking lot. So we've got the new caliper on. We're going to put the brake line back on. So how this works is there's a copper washer on either side of the hose, and those crush down when we tighten it down so that the fluid doesn't leak out when it's under high pressure. And we got our little mounting pin on there, so that's how we know it's oriented right. And all we gotta do is snug this back down, and we can stop making a giant puddle all over the place. Then you bust your knuckle open. That's part of the process. Good.
And drop the wrench.
And cut.
Nice, a little update here. Rob's got a pretty good gash on his finger here.
From that last clip.
We're gonna do some
we're gonna
professional.
throw some electrical tape on there because We're professionals.
Yes.
Perfect.
Good to
Good
go.
to go.
Like it never even happened.
Okay, so since we puked fluid all over the ground, we're gonna put some more in. Because we're really empty. So you just take the cap off the reservoir, and then Tobin's using his little homemade funnel.
Engineered.
We took a bunch of it, and
Took about-
now we're ready to bleed the
about
brakes.
3/4 of it. Okay. So last thing we got to do before we can put everything back together is we got to bleed the brakes. So we got to make sure that there's no air in these brake lines, because that would be very bad for when you go down the road. So this is our bleeder valve here, and we're just gonna crack this with the wrench and allow fluid to flow through. So Rob's gonna go inside the car, one of us is gonna go inside the car, pump on the brake, push fluid through here, and we're gonna bleed it out and make sure that there's no air resting in these lines. All right, here's the brake bleeding process. All right, you ready? Now I'm gonna crack the valve, fluid's coming out, then we tighten it back up. Okay, so at this point, everything is put back together, and we're gonna go take it for a test drive and make sure the right side is not dragging anymore. All right, well, what are our thoughts?
Well, it's braking a lot better. There's a lot less of a drag, a pull to the right when I don't have hands on the wheel. That's good.